Are you speaking about the Holmstrom and goaltender interference call? That's not subject to video review, and I think the one thing that's frustrating about that call consistently, anyway, in my opinion, is it's such a subjective call, and I think arguments can be made both ways on any number of players' goals when they get next to the goalie, and there may be a little bit of a Ken bumping.
It's a hip check.
But that's what's frustrating, is that it's not subject to review, so you're dealing with just the subjectivity of the person on the ice, and obviously Holmstrom's got a reputation, and the more goals that get called off, it seems like it bolsters that person's reputation. So all we can do is, going into the playoffs, is state our case to the person that's monitoring the series and let them know what our thoughts are and show them some clips, and hopefully they give us as clear parameters as possible of what they're going to call and what they're not going to call, and then the players got to abide by that.
First, a statement for Chris on this. Talk about the officials. If you remember right, back in '95, you had the #1 power play in the National Hockey League. You had a game with Mr. Have Another Donut, and he never called one penalty on Toronto. So what does that do for your power play? You know, you ever seen a game where there was no penalties, Chris?
The squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So that's all I'm going to say on that one. I suppose the referees again, but you know what? Like you said, there's a lot said, you know, between Kenny and Jim. They don't think they're not talking to the league about it. Obviously, you can't publicly discuss it, or it happens every once in a while that maybe an owner will speak of. I think a good example is when you mentioned, at least I say that when the non-calls hurt our team the worst, I believe, when we're playing at our best. And you look back at the finals against Pittsburgh the first time, and they were complaining about clutching and grabbing, so all of a sudden it changed a little bit when the series was 2-0. We were just playing great hockey. And then you look at the next year, in the final game, there's one penalty called aside. So, you know, I guess what we're looking for is consistency. You talk about Homer's case, just something that we know. But like you see, there's two arguments. It's like I don't know. It's a really tough. Consistency's never been one of the things that we've had. I don't think overall. Suspensions, you know, penalties, everything.
Just two quick things for you, Chris. One, when you go in the Hall of Fame, which you will it be as a Red Wing? And two, the late Bob Probert was a friend of both of us, and he told me that you talked him into coming out in the off season and training in California with you, and he said, I thought he was going to kill me.
The key with Bob, the first question was the Hall of Fame, and fortunately, I did find this out a couple of years ago. I don't know if baseball does that, but everybody asks that same question if you have to pick a team. There's no team. You know, I think, what do? They just put a hat, or I don't know if it's an NHL hat or
NHL Blazer. You get the Hall of Fame.
The Blazer. So you don't have to choose a team, which fortunately is a good thing. To be honest with you, I think if it happens, I would have put a USA jersey on. I had no right answer once anyway. And as far as Proby was concerned, I mean, Jim's dealt with Proby. I think you played with Proby also, and you know, when Bobby did come to the Blackhawks, he was clean and sober. So I never really, you know, the only times I met Proby is when he was running me from behind trying to break my neck when I was chasing Sergey around and Stevie. But you know, funny as it seems, we became best friends, and I thought the best thing for him was to keep himself busy, which was a good thing for Bob. And it was long hours in the gym. He spent the summers in my place here with his wife Danny and their kids. And it was a great relationship, and I think he started getting away from that after I got traded. So he was like my third son, to be honest with you. It was great, you know. And as long as you kept, you know, Bob busy with the right type of people, he was great. And anyone who knew him, I don't know if you never read the book, but he was a gentle Ben. You know, it happens. You know, if you don't battle addiction, it's hard to understand it. So you know, it's unfortunate the way it happened, but just a great kid. Tough loss.
All right, one final question is for Ryan Martin. And Ryan, we are in a cap world right now. What's the most challenging part about your day in figuring out all the numbers and putting everything together?
Telling Kenny Holland no. We have an injury, we need to recall so-and-so. No. Coming into the cap world, I think a lot of teams were trying to find their way and figure out what approach might be the best, saving a lot of money, saving some for the trade deadline, spending it all during the summer. We've found, although we won the cup, we had the most cap space left of any year, but we've found that we're most comfortable spending a large portion of the money during the summer, building our team during the summer. It allows us to save our draft picks at the trade deadline. So we're building the team in August, not in March. And because we do that, we set aside a little bit of money to account for injuries and the odd player recall. But really, Jim and Stevie before he left, and now Chris and Ken and I, we've sort of taken the approach, and our pro scouts have taken the approach, we're going to build the team in August, and that's how we're going to account for depth and injury issues over the course of the year. So unfortunately, the negative repercussion of that is you don't have a whole lot of options or flexibility or money left during the season. So, but so far, I think it's worked well with the players that we've had to bring up.
All right, how about a nice round of applause? You know what? Everybody says that hockey players and people in the hockey world are the greatest people in the world, and I can attest to that. Working with them day in and day out, these guys, the players, just terrific. So I want to thank Chris, Jim, Ryan for being here today for our annual DSBA playoff meeting. Want to wish you the best of luck in the playoffs this season, and hopefully come June we'll raise another silver chalice here in Detroit. Before we close it out, Will Tiemann has one more announcement.
I just love this comment about the kids. I had to go talk to my oldest in college. He's a junior. 2 hours. I don't think he heard a damn thing I said. Our next meeting, by the way, is going to be on Tuesday, June the 21st. It's going to be at the Bayview Yacht Club. We became involved with the Mackinac race last year. It was a blast. Bruce Babbitt's in charge. You want to stand up and say hi? Or just wave? There's a lot of things I can't relate to, but I can relate to their new corporate sponsors, Bell's Brewery. Yeah. David Monroe. So I thank everybody for coming. This was a great meeting. I enjoyed all the conversation. So see you at Bayview. Thank you.
That Money Shot presentation brought to you by Detroit City Production Company. Squeal like a pig, squeal like a pig.